Vocalist Penny Cantarini brings us the sounds of gamelan, and I talk to the French actor, director, screenwriter and producer Danny Boone about his latest film, Driving Madeline. All that and more coming up on the Arts Hour.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. The Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh says his group is close to agreeing what he called a truce with Israel after more than 6 weeks of fighting. An agreement could see the release of some hostages who were taken by Hamas in return for pauses in fighting and the release of Palestinian prisoners. Israel is yet to respond. BBC's Jeremy Bowen said it's working out how to get the captives freed.
There's a lot of debate inside Israel, inside the government, about the best way to do it. There have been more hawkish people, you might say, who've been saying military pressure is what's going to get them out. And there's the other side who've been talking to the hostage families, saying that actually they should be prioritized.
The Israeli military says it's encircled Jabalia in northern Gaza, killing numerous gunmen and destroying underground Hamas infrastructure. At the Nusayrat refugee camp, the Palestinian news agency says at least 17 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike. The charity Médecins Sans Frontières said, meanwhile, that some of its staff had been hit by Israeli airstrikes. Here's MSF's Natalie Thurtle.
The vehicles came under direct attack when they were moving through a supposed safe corridor, and one of them was killed and one of them was injured. And the patient who was injured remains in one of our premises in the north, desperately requiring medical evacuation that we have been unable to secure. We also yesterday had all of our vehicles destroyed, so we no longer have the possibility to move that injured staff member under our own capacity.
Israel has recalled its ambassador from South Africa ahead of a vote in the South African Parliament on whether to close the Israeli embassy. Israel's foreign ministry said the move followed the latest South African statements, which have been highly critical of Israel's actions in Gaza. South Africa has referred Israel to the International Criminal Court for alleged war crimes. President Zelensky has hailed the uprising 10 years ago that toppled Ukraine's pro-Kremlin president as the first victory of its war with Russia. Euromaidan protests were aimed at forcing President Yanukovych to sign an association agreement with the EU, but he made a secret deal with Moscow instead. Dozens of protesters were shot dead before the president fled to Russia. Attending a ceremony in Kiev, the German Defense Minister, Boris Pistorius, reaffirmed Berlin's support for Ukraine.
Courageous people of all ages took to the streets for freedom, to protest and demonstrate for rapprochement with Europe, and paid for it with their lives. And today, for almost 2 years, Ukraine and Ukrainians have been fighting for their freedom again, in this case against an outside attacker.
BBC News. Rescue teams in northern India have had their first sight of 41 construction workers who've spent 10 days trapped in a collapsed road tunnel. A camera was successfully fed to the workers through a pipe. Videos show the heavily bearded and exhausted-looking men waving to the camera. Some have previously complained of dysentery. The new pipe has also made it possible to deliver the men's first hot meal since the collapse. 31,000 people suspected of being involved in online and telephone scams have been handed over to China from Myanmar. Criminals defraud Chinese people of hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Mickey Bristow reports.
This is a huge number of suspects handed over because Beijing has renewed a campaign to target criminal gangs who defraud Chinese citizens from just over the border in Myanmar. Fighting between ethnic groups and the Burmese army in the area where the fraudsters operate also seems to have spurred these deportations. China said 63 of those handed over were gang ringleaders, but the culpability of the rest is unclear. The UN says many people involved in online fraud are themselves coerced into criminal activity and are victims too.
Police in southern Spain have arrested 3 people in their investigation into the attempted murder of a leading conservative politician, Alejo Vidal Quadras, in Madrid. The arrests were made in Malaga and Granada. 2 of the suspects are Spanish nationals. The nationality of the third has yet to be established. Thailand's cabinet has approved a proposal that would allow same-sex marriages. The draft law is expected to be put before Parliament next month. If passed, Thailand would become the third place in Asia to allow marriage equality, following similar moves in Taiwan and Nepal. Thailand's LGBT communities are open and visible, but the law has yet to reflect social norms. World News from the BBC.
Hello and welcome to the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service. I'm Nikki Beattie, bringing you a glittering array of global arts and culture conversations from across the BBC and beyond, and shining a light on some of the finest culture in the world. Coming up on today's show, Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of Hollywood's biggest action stars and the former governor of California, on how to realise your ambitions. Australian actor Sarah Snook, famous for her role as Shiv in Succession, talks about playing more than 26 different parts in a new London stage adaptation of The Picture of Dorian Gray. French star Isabelle Huppert talks about finding her characters through their costumes, and British acting royalty Dame Judi Dench on coping with her sight loss. Also on the show, the Indonesian composer and vocalist Penny Kandarini brings us her gamelan sounds. That's not all though. My guests on today's Arts Hour are the French actor, director, screenwriter and producer Danny Boone. He'll join us in the second part of the show to talk about his latest film, Driving Madeline. And writer, broadcaster and cultural critic Vidisha is with me in the studio. So before we go any further, Vidisha, what do you have to recommend to us, a cultural highlight that you'd like to share with the world?
I want to celebrate the work of an organisation called SineScreen, S-I-N-E. They are interested in bringing out the best in Chinese and diaspora film to anyone who's interested, and they currently have a fantastic sort of autumn schedule on. It's called Whose Homeland. I went to a screening of theirs in a beautiful little cultural community centre. It was short films all about the Chinese diaspora experience. So illuminating, so creative, and I love the idea that we are exploring all of these stories through grassroots arts movements.
How fantastic. Now, do you think that's something we can do all over the world?
Completely. The great thing about online these days is that you can access culture from anywhere you are. You can learn other languages, you can watch films through subtitles, you can find out about people who are nothing like yourself, but of course we're all like each other, and that's what you realise if you're watching films.
What a great start to the show. Thank you, Vidisha. First up, the Austrian-American movie star Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's been a bodybuilding champion, governor of California, and a successful restaurateur. As an actor, he's best known for his leading roles in high-profile action films, Conan the Barbarian, The Terminator, Commando, Total Recall. He's also starred in comedies, Twins, Kindergarten Cop, and Jingle All the Way. Now, Arnie's on a mission to teach us mere mortals 7 ways to be useful. His latest book is called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. He recently spoke to the BBC's Graham Norton, who asked him how he dealt with the naysayers at the beginning of his acting career.
First of all, you can imagine when you have big dreams, people always say, this guy is crazy. And even my parents thought that I was kind of out of my mind, right? When I said I want to be a bodybuilding champion, they said, well, we understand if you want to be a ski champion, be in Austria. But you don't want to be a bodybuilding champion. That's an American sport. I mean, what are you doing that for? I mean, you're crazy. And so they said, no, it can't be done. And the people around me said, no, it can't be done. And it's impossible. Then when I wanted to go into acting, it was the same thing. They said, it would never happen. He says, there's no one that ever had an accent, a German accent, and they became an international leading man in movies. It won't happen. American people don't accept it, other people don't accept it, so forget about it. Plus your body, look at you, you weigh 250 pounds. I mean, this is now the 70s, that's not the 60s where they made Hercules movies. Now it's Dustin Hoffman, and it is Al Pacino and Woody Allen. Those are the sex symbols of the 70s. It was like, so and the name, Schwarzenschnitzel, whatever they said to me, so that's too long of a name, no one would be able to pronounce that. So it was no, no, no. And so I didn't listen to the naysayers. I had my very clear vision to be another Clint Eastwood or another Charles Bronson. Those were the 2 big action heroes at that time that made $1 million a movie. It was at the top salary in the 70s. And so I said to myself, well, why can I not be up there on that ladder with them, And so they said, you will never be able to climb that ladder. And I said, okay, then I'm going to create my own ladder and climb that. And so that's what I did.
I know. Did you ever think, oh, I can lose my accent. I can sound like an American?
Well, I did not really have that talent. So even though I had an English coach and an acting coach and a speech coach and an accent removal coach.
Wow.
who has passed away since then, but I mean, I should have otherwise gotten my money back. The bottom line is I worked on it. I remember that when he says, you always say three. It's not three, it is three with TH. Yeah. So he had me say 3,333 and 1/3 with the TH and not with the S.
Very
right?
good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's after 5,000 years, right? Thousands of reps on it, And I remember we get confused with the Fs and the V and the W. That we would say, this is a nice vine, but it's actually wine, right? So the guy had me say, a fine wine grows on a vine. So now I ran around with that. Then for instance, he said to me, Arnold, you have to also learn how to say the vibrating Z. We don't have that in German. So he said, the sink is made out of zinc. So I was saying that. So things like that. I was saying things over and over again.
Phrases.
It was very helpful, but it didn't get rid of my accent. Right? But the funny thing is, all of the stuff that they said, the Hollywood producers and the directors and all these geniuses, they were saying that this is an obstacle for me to become a leading man, became an asset.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you haven't seen the 3-part Netflix series, Arnold, about his life, it's really worth it. When I lived in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, I would see Arnie, I'm looking at Vidisha smiling at me here, driving up Main Street in his big old Hummer. And I used to frequent his restaurant, which was called Schatzi on Main, and you could have a schnitzel sandwich on a Kaiser roll. I know, it's not for everyone, is it? Our cultural critic in the Arts House studio today is Vidisha. So turning obstacles into assets, is that something you admire in him?
I was so impressed by his articulacy and strength. He's so intelligent and witty. I absolutely believe that he could turn anything into anything. He could probably turn a rock into a diamond just by holding it in his very muscular fist. So I'm not surprised at all that he took lemons and made lemonade, although I don't totally believe he started absolutely from nothing. He had a lot of drive, he had a lot of support, he had talent and ambition. You do need those things in place, and then you get worldly advantages.
Do you have a favourite Arnie film?
I'm a fan of his as an actor, and in fact, Terminator and Terminator 2 are absolutely formative favourite films of mine. Weirdly, despite them being about killer robots, they're my comfort movies.
I can't believe that.
Really? Yeah, Terminator 2 is my favourite all-time film. It's the first film I ever saw twice. And I think that's extremely telling because I love movies and I make films. It was the first film that I thought, I need to watch it back again. And I know every frame of the 2 Terminator films, and every time I watch them back, I see something new in them. A critic at the time said that Arnold Schwarzenegger was so charismatic as a movie star that he was like his own visual effect.
Wow.
I think that's absolutely true. And only rock-solid movie stars can do that, where there's no one else in the frame, but you can't take your eyes off them.
Well, I have to say, that has taken my breath away, that's how much you love Terminator 2. So have you ever had to deal with naysayers in your career?
I do tend to think that the really bitter people aren't the ones who are in the meeting with you or at the gathering. They're the ones who write you anonymous poison pen letters afterwards or maneuver against you when you're not there. And I absolutely believe that if there are naysayers in the room, beating on a door that's not going to open is a waste of time, and that you should relax and go with the flow. And even if there are 10 people in a room and 9 of them are not on your side and doubt you, just be friends with number 10.
That's a very positive way of looking at it. So in the 70s, that when Arnie was trying to break through, Hollywood wasn't particularly diverse. How much do you think things have improved since then?
Hollywood is undergoing a real transformation process, partly because of its own conscience and its own morality, partly also because of pressure from the outside. It's now not possible to have a raft of Oscar-nominated films which are only representing one kind of story, because the entire world of the internet will get on you about that. And I think that's absolutely fair and valid. I tend to think that the conversation is ahead of the industry. So we're all talking about diversity and inclusion and representation. The money guys, the people in suits who are commissioning films, are probably a little bit behind that movement. But I do think things are always changing. I think they're changing for the better. And no one can run and hide from the way the world is. The world is a completely varied place. All sorts of different people doing different things in different ways. And films have to represent that and reflect that, not in order to be good or moral, but just in order to be realistic.
Yeah. So let's talk about Arnold's accent, because it really has become part of his trademark. Are there any other examples of stars who haven't changed the way they speak, but have succeeded nevertheless?
I was thinking of someone like Ray Winston.
Okay,
and
the British actor.
All of those fantastic British actors who make a point very rightly of saying, look, not everyone in a country sounds like they came from the best university and the metropolitan centre of whichever country they're in. Accents change from country end to country end, and I don't think that we should ever change who we are. If you have an accent that's seen as a foreign accent, that should be absolutely a compliment. It means that you're speaking your second, third or fourth language.
Thank you, Vidisha. You're listening to The Art Hour on the BBC World Service with me, Nikki Beattie. Shiv Roy is the dastardly plotter of a daughter to Logan Roy in the incredibly popular television series Succession. She was brilliantly played by the Australian actor Sarah Snook, who you may have seen in the movies Pieces of a Woman and this year's Australian feature Run Rabbit Run. Sarah's latest challenge is playing all 26 characters in a London stage adaptation of the Oscar Wilde novel The Picture of Dorian Gray. The BBC's Laura Kunzberg chatted to Sarah Snook about how this Victorian novel remains relevant.
A portrait gets painted of a young man and it's very beautiful, and he wishes that he will remain always like the portrait, and the portrait to age rather than he does. And I feel like that's like Instagram now. Like that's like we take a photo of ourselves, we put filters on ourselves, we're constantly trying to preserve this image of now, but making now the future as well. There's a real sense of celebration of youth and a sort of desperate clinging to youth in some ways. And I feel like that's what Wilde was talking about back in Victorian era, this kind of a bookend from then to now, I think.
Do you feel that that pressure as an actor and as someone who lives your life, at least in part, publicly?
Totally. Oh yeah, absolutely. But I would say that like I actively try and draw a line with that. I'm very quiet on social media. I find it a bit of a scary landscape.
Has that been a difficult thing, given that you are now enormously famous?
Yes and no, and I think because I don't believe that, or I don't engage with that, or I don't know. I try not to acknowledge the fame part of it too much. It's too big. It's too big. How can we, as an individual, do that? It's too much.
That's so interesting, though. So you don't believe you're famous?
I have had hint of it, but I don't want to indulge it, or doesn't make me comfortable.
Now, in the telling of the story on stage, you are playing all of the characters, 26 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, how on earth do you go about that as a performance?
I mean, tricky, but a lot of fun. I just love putting on voices and characters and pretending to be other people, and then, went and got a degree in pretending to be other people, and so it becomes a job. And I hope to be able to bring that to this play, this performance.
And you are doing lots of accents.
Yes. So, well, you have to delineate between all the different characters, yeah.
So tell me about some of them, and which one's your favourite, which is easiest, which is hardest? Because I think also some of our viewers might not even know that you're Australian. Your accent might be a surprise to some people.
I mean, yeah. And one of the characters, the narrator, will be
43rd one of the
somewhat
month.
similar
Tastes
to
just as
my
good as the
accent now.
first.
Maybe
That's a
little bit
magical Christmas with little.
anglicized, more like British, a bit. There's Scottish as well.
Hi there.
Which is the
Did you
hardest, do you
know
think?
you can perfectly legally,
Scottish.
through a government scheme, earn £1 million a
tempted to
year
give us a flavour of the
completely
accent.
tax-free by using commercial property? Got your attention, didn't it? My name's Paul Smith, founder of Touchstone Education.
do it on stage,
I'm the
no,
UK's
but I will have
leading
practiced
commercial
and
property
rehearsed
trainer. I've
and
trained more
sat,
people
listened
to
to
make
my
more
audio
money
tapes and
than
then
anyone else. You're possibly
worked on it.
thinking,
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean,
like
if
to
you
be
use
able
that
to
to say,
retire,
I'd
or
copy.
I'd love to be able to retire, but
say
I'm already, I should be
picture
retired already, and I'm not.
picture of
What can I
Dorian
do? Well, if you
Is that right? Is that okay?
I think that was not bad.
The picture of Dorian Gray. Yeah. I mean, it's such a beautiful accent. I wish I could do it perfect. I mean, I will. I will do it perfect on the day.
Actor Sarah Snook. Author, broadcaster, filmmaker, critic Vidisha is with me in the Arts Hour studio. Vidisha, Sarah Snook embodying 26 characters in one play. It's a massive task. It will be proof that she's a protean actor if she pulls it off, which I hope she does. Are there other notable performers that you've seen, same actor playing multiple roles, that you really, really think are brilliant?
The performer I really love is Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black, which is an incredible TV
Series.
drama. Yeah, it's a series. It's all about clones. I don't know how she does it. Her entire body language, her voice transforms with every role. And in every episode, she finds more and more and more clones, and they're all her. And she's acting opposite herself. I don't know how she does it. She's extraordinary. Tatiana Maslany is such a talent.
How do you feel about movie and TV stars appearing on stage? I mean, is it stunt casting, or do you think they have as much right as any other actor to tread those boards?
In showbiz, darling, everything is stunt casting. Everything's about fame and beauty and charisma, and as much as you want to just go to the local bus stop and cast all the people there and stick them in your Hamlet adaptation, people will show up when there are super duper movie stars on the stage. I think it's absolutely fair enough. I say this as someone who went to watch Equus twice just to see Daniel Radcliffe naked. So I'm guilty.
I'm not sure that that's why you really went, because you went to see. Anyway, also, it does bring a new group of people into a theatre space who otherwise might not, want to go and see a play.
Theatre's really interesting because you go to these beautiful, often Victorian 19th century theatres, and it seems like you're in this world of comfort and luxury, but actually the world is highly, tightly budgeted. Theatres barely break even, and anything that gets people in the habit of watching a drama play out on stage in front of them in the communal space, sitting together. We've lost so much of that during the pandemic. We've all been pushed apart from each other. I think that any story that's playing out in front of you, if it's well told, well written and well acted, we should show up for it.
Thank you, Vidisha. You're with the BBC World Service. This is the Arts Hour. French movie star Isabelle Huppert is one of the greatest living screen actors and a name synonymous with French cinema. She's also known for her work in the US, starring in Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate, David O. Russell's comedy I Heart Huckabees, and in South Korea she worked with Hong Sang-soo on his 2012 movie In Another Place. I loved her more recently in Neil Jordan's creepy film Greta. Her performances lend themselves to enigmatic characters where interior turmoil is being kept at bay until it boils over. She's also capable of a kind of sophisticated ham acting, which she displays in François Ozon's retro musical 8 Women. Reunited with the French director in The Crime Is Mine, she plays an out-of-work silent movie actress in the 1930s, and her character has a lot of red curly hair. Isabelle Huppert spoke to Jason Di Rosso on ABC Radio National's The Screen Show about the importance of costume when preparing for a role.
Well, costume is not only the first step in roles preparation, it might be most of the time the only one, actually, the most important, the most significant, and in a film itself, the costume is really the first indication, the first sign you give to the audience, and it has how you define the character and how to give the perception of the role to the spectator. So yes, it's very important, and yes, by necessity, it's of course a collaboration, and it's between what you enjoy wearing, and it really defines your character. I'm about to start a new film, for example, tomorrow, and even if it's a contemporary film, it took us quite a time to really define the character. If it's a period film, the distance between you and the character is more obvious. I mean, there is no way, and I get at some point in my life or in any occasion dressed as what I play in this film, for example, in a Crime Is Mine.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
To get dressed a little bit like you are, because a role in a contemporary film, the distance between the role and what you are is always more subtle. So yes, it's always a collaboration and a concern, and it's very important.
I think I've read you saying that it's important for you playing a role to have to sort of protect an interiority. There is a surface, but to have something in there, not necessarily to be displaying it, but to have something of your own.
But I think by saying this, I was more defining what exactly cinema is, which is, that's why it's such a powerful and fascinating media that even though it goes through great difficulties, still fascinates people who do it and people who watch it. This ability to capture something visible but something invisible, and so let's say that maybe the interiority would be that invisible part to any human being that cinema is particularly able to capture, and that is the power of the camera.
Isabelle Huppert. With me in the Arts House studio today as our cultural critic is Vidisha. Are you an Isabelle Huppert admirer?
I'm a huge, mega, ultra, super fan of hers. She's so alluring, so icy, so charismatic. There's so much going on in her face. She's so beautiful. She has got so much presence. I would watch her in a 2-hour film where it was just her having a cup of tea and reading the paper.
I bet she'll do that too. Standout films of Francois Ozon. If somebody, I mean, I'm assuming that you are a fan or you know, but if somebody wanted to explore his back catalogue, where do you think they should start?
You could watch Swimming Pool, which is a famous film of his, but I actually adore a film he made called Potiche, which means trophy wife.
Yes.
It's got Catherine Deneuve somehow taking on the role of a sort of business lady, and she's in full Deneuve. She's giving it everything she's got. She's got the highlighted bob and the little scarf, and it's a story of a women's empowerment journey, and yet it's full of affection and love and subtle points of humour. It's got that French élan, which is very hard to replicate, and there's even a brief singing interlude. It's a story of struggle and triumph with a huge amount of heart.
Thank you, Vidisha. That's it for part 1 of the show, but don't go away. Still to come, Britain's premier theatrical dame, Judi Dench, and I'll be talking to French actor, writer and filmmaker Danny Boone. The Arts Hour's back after this.
This is the BBC World Service, and for the Forum, Izzy Lawrence is looking at political parties.
The last US election was the most expensive ever. $14 billion.
A lot of it is spent on advertising and fundraising. Some of this money is spent just getting more money.
Wherever you are in the world, you need deep pockets to fight for political power. So how do parties try to persuade us, the voters, to choose their party over another?
I think most political organizers try to get people angry. Anger is something that pushes someone to take action.
And if you don't think the ideas of existing parties work for you, how about starting your own? Although, in the UK, it can be tricky.
It's immensely difficult by design. The level of bureaucracy is just insane.
The Forum, Political Parties and Us. Saturday at 12 GMT.
Still to come on the Arts Hour with me, Nikki Beattie, British acting royalty Dame Judi Dench on managing her sight loss.
I can't seem to read anymore. Anything I have to learn now is tricky. But I will think up a new way of doing it. I'll find a way.
French actor, director and writer Danny Boone talks to me about his film Driving Madeline, and Norwegian author Karl Ove Knausgård on dreams. All that and more coming up on the Arts Hour.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. The Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh has said his group is close to agreeing what he called a truce with Israel after more than 6 weeks of fighting. Israel has yet to comment. A deal mediated by Qatar could see the release of some of the hostages taken from Israel to Gaza in return for pauses in the fighting and the release of Palestinian prisoners. The Israeli military says it's completed the encirclement of Jabalia in northern Gaza, killing many gunmen and destroying underground Hamas infrastructure. It said Palestinians were hitting back with anti-tank missiles and explosive devices. Israel has recalled its ambassador from South Africa for consultations ahead of a vote in the South African Parliament on whether to expel him. Israel said the move followed the latest South African statements, which have been highly critical of its actions in Gaza. President Zelensky has hailed the uprising 10 years ago that toppled Ukraine's pro-Kremlin president as the first victory of its war with Russia. He called it the start of Ukraine's struggle for a European future. Myanmar has handed over more than 30,000 people suspected of being involved in online and telephone scams to China. Beijing has recently renewed a campaign to target criminal gangs in Myanmar. Rescuers have had their first sight of 41 Indian construction workers who spent 10 days trapped in a collapsed tunnel in the Himalayan foothills. A camera was successfully fed through a pipe. They appeared exhausted. Thailand's cabinet has approved a proposal that would allow same-sex marriages. If passed, the country would become the third place in Asia to allow marriage equality. Police in southern Spain have arrested 3 people in their investigation into the attempted murder of a leading conservative politician in Madrid. Alejo Vadil Codras, a former head of the Conservative People's Party, was shot 12 days ago. BBC News.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from Sendwave. Sendwave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With Sendwave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. And the best part is, Sendwave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use Sendwave? Sendwave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about Sendwave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. or you can visit our website www.worldlamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@worldlamp@gmail.com. World Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
While the others keep on talking, we keep on rocking.
Your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harrison, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
Turn it on. Turn it up.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it's a Starr Radio UK and the morning show.
This is Starr Radio. This is
UK.
Starr Radio
UK.
This is Starr Radio
UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat.
Welcome.
You make a doubt they fade, Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hand, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forever.
This is Starr Radio.
Makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain
Welcome.
to the end. To the end.
Welcome.
One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign. That's why forever call you great.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you. I say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and say welcome to the Tuesday edition of the morning show.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a dawn.
Today's Tuesday, the 21st day of November, the year 2023. How many days more for the Christmas? That's about 34 days, right? Oh boy. But wherever you are, thank God you are still alive, well and kicking, as I would say.
Till the end, you are.
And as we say on this platform, Nigeria has not happened to you, so what about that? So I welcome you all to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Now, if you've not listened to us before, this is the first time of listening to us on a Tuesday morning. This is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit. Then we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. That is known as global trotting.
Holy, holy.
So the program continues from there. It's when exactly at 11 o'clock we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, my colleague and co-presenter, joining us to bring us updates from Nigeria.
And that's what makes you great.
Then from thence we continue to look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. From archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, it's making the headlines. We're going to touch on it. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. Then at 12:30, we'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. So in Nigeria, that's what's going to happen today. But let me say good morning to my colleagues, Mr. Olayomi Koiki and Mr. Francis Guy, my able producer there as well. Bishop Adesina, massive good morning to you. Antonio Dedeji, good morning to you. Aziz, good morning. Rachel, I hope you are doing very, very well. Massive good morning to you. And the same vein, let me say good morning to my brother Felix all the way in Aberdeen. Kojoti, good morning. Frank, good morning. Dr. Morton, good morning to you all. And once again, welcome to the show. Let me say good morning to my Bishop Adesina, massive good morning to you and all your colleagues at the RBS office in Lagos, Nigeria. Massive good morning to you all. Once again, welcome to the show.
Love for you runs deep.
Okie dokie do. Let's crack on.
You make a dawn.
The question of the day says, a truly wise person will value humility and counsel of others. So you find out that you don't value counsel and humility, having the humility to take the counsel from others, then you have a big problem. Because I do say it all the time. The Bible says that King Solomon was the wisest man on earth, yet he had some advisors around him, some wise men around him as well. So no one knows it all, and therefore you need me, I need you to be able to do it. Why not? Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm moving on straight to the weather front, telling you about what is happening when it comes to the weather this morning. This one we've got for you. For those of you in London and southeastern part of England, this afternoon we'll see start a cloudy start with a few showers or spot of rain in places. Later on, it will turn drier and brighter from northwest. A gentle northerly breeze is expected as well. Also, tonight we're going to be seeing some rains coming through. Tonight we'll see any remaining cloud and showers soon diminish to leave mainly clear skies as well. However, there will be short-lived as more clouds move in from the west overnight.
Hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday.
Well, it's going to be 12 degrees, the lowest is going to be 4 degrees. UV level low, pollution low, sunset 16:04, and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:28 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're moving on straight to the travel update as well. So what are some of your travels here in the UK? For those of you in London, well, if you're traveling on the underground this morning, the Northern and Piccadilly line have got minor delays. All the others are running a good service. There are London Tramley running a good service there as well. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. As you keep it navigated, I promise, I will go. Now, when it comes to the major roads in London as well, A1 has got serious delays. That aside, all the others are running a very good service. The River Bus also has got good service throughout, apart from the Woolwich Ferry, that's got a bit of a problem there, as you know. The London Cable Car is also running a good service there. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
And that's what makes you great.
To the final segment of the travel updates, that is the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, London North Eastern Railway, Northern Rail, Southeastern, Southern, Thames Link, and Transport for Wales have all got minor delays. Also, ScotRail has got special service. That aside, all the others are running a very good service there. So on that note, as I will say all the time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth.
Forever call you great. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord.
I will say it as I normally will. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you are on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes where? On the road.
Holy, holy. Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll bring it a time now to tick tock, 10:49. But let's go global trotting. What is happening this morning across the globe? Let me bring you that. Now, when we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on some of the stories that we're going to be looking at this morning from Nigeria, Tinubu not undermining judiciary, no plan for one-party rule. Is that what he intends doing? Or is that what some people are speculating that he's going to be doing? But President Bola Tinubu's administration says he is not undermining the judiciary and planning to force a one-party state on Nigeria. Do you think that can happen? Boy. No, I think we've gone past that place. I think we've gone past it. Okay? Now, presidency fumes tackles Obasanjo over democracy comment. The presidency on Monday blamed former President Olusegun Obasanjo for the current state of Nigeria's democracy. What did he do wrong there? Now, customs intercept over 15,000 liters of petrol, others worth 13 million naira. Okay? And then CSO laments Nigeria's rising debt profile. Civil society organization, the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, on Tuesday lamented the rising debt profile of Nigeria and some West African countries. Osun State Governor Adeleke spends 2 billion naira on meals, welfare packages, and 6 billion naira to run his office in 3 months. I bet the people in Osun are very, very rich, aren't they? And everybody is living well. There are no puppets or anything of the sort there. If not. And then terrorists still holding on to 6 female students of Nigeria's Federal University in Katsina, Zamfara State. We think that the former president will now be seen to the negotiating of the release of these ones. Will he? Ajani Ajala, massive good morning to you. And thank you very much for joining in as well. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on to other stories making the rounds this morning. In other parts of the world, in Madagascar's election, Rajoelina takes early lead. Madagascar's incumbent president, Andry Rajoelina, is leading last Thursday's election with currently 62.4% of the vote. Meanwhile, there are people who decided to, other parties who decided to abstain or boycott it. So, okay. In other stories as well, Bukai declared winner of Liberia's presidential election by the Electoral Commission. Bukai won with 50.64% of the vote against 49.36% of the vote for Wia. In other stories as well, Senegal's opposition party sponsors new candidate in presidential polls. So, who have they placed there in place of or replace with Sonko? We'll be telling you more about that. And the DRC opposition leader Moise Katumbi launches presidential campaign. We'll see how things pan out there, and we hope that things are peaceful though. And in Mali, MINUSMA hands over 9th base to authorities, and 32 dead in attacks in disputed region between Sudan and South Sudan. There are some of the stories in Ghana as well. Affirmative action bill. IMF can't dictate parliament to parliament. That's what Bagbin is saying. Well. You go calabash in hand. Your leadership are not seeing to running your finances the right way that they're supposed to. And you tell them, well, we are giving you all the loans that that you can use to run your affairs and pay yourselves. They tell them they cannot dictate to you what you have to do. Boy, you sold your rights when you went to them for that money, because it's upon their conditions. All right. Well, I'll be bringing you more details about that. And the police are on manhunt for suspects who attacked football coach in Sunyani is one of the stories making the round. Saglemi housing, 4th accused reported dead as trial of Collins Dowda and others begin. But those properties, why are they sitting there for? I don't get it. We live as if we sort of, let me put it this way, like we are Saudi Arabia or Qatar, where we've got lots of money and we have the chance to, waste some. If you see that Saglemi project, you look at it very well and you look at things that have gone on in there, you ask yourself the question, really? Why do we behave that way? Meanwhile, there are some people sleeping somewhere, and those buildings have been there for how many years now? Dilapidated because another government built it, and you don't have any listen with it. Well, so are they going to bulldoze them all down? Well, we'll tell you more about that as the program goes on. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. It is Starr Radio UK. Still in Ghana, one other story. 10 MMDC is to be dismissed by Akufo-Addo. Can he? Will he? That's the question. A reflection on betrayal and triumph. Ken's presidential dream put the phenomena to... Okay, I'll be telling you more about that as well. But the government of Ghana has restricted the importation, or is to restrict importation of rice, yamadia, and other products. Okay. That is Shaki. Those of us here, Shaki. Okay. And then in other parts of the world as well, what is happening there? Some of the stories making the rounds there. Well, this morning, as Hamas leader says truce deal close as Israel yet to comment, the statement from Ismail Haniyeh raises hopes that the fighting could pause to allow the release of hostages. Now, Israel recalls its ambassador from South Africa. It comes a day after South Africa called for an ICC arrest warrant against Israel's prime minister. And then OpenAI staff demand board quit over Altman sacking. Almost all the company's 770 staff has signed a letter calling on the board members to go. Oh boy. So are they going to tell Microsoft to bring him back? Will they be able to do so? We can end child marriage in a generation. Michelle Obama, Amal Clooney, and Melinda French Gates are on a path to actually see whether they can stop child marriages, especially in Africa and some of the other countries, let me put it that way. But the first video has emerged of Indian workers stuck in a tunnel. The 41 workers have been trapped in an under construction tunnel in northern India since the 12th of November. I don't know how or what they are doing to still be able to keep on there. And Brazil records its hottest ever temperature. The town of Aruca in the country's southeast hit a high of 44.8 degrees Celsius. Oh my, that is hot, hot, hot. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Now, in other stories making the rounds here in the UK, in hindsight, we acted too late. Whitty tells COVID inquiry, said Chris Whitty, the chief medical officer for England, is giving evidence to the UK COVID-19 inquiry. Now, they're taking a swipe at the former prime minister and at the current prime minister. Now, do you think that is going to dampen the quest that they're trying to revamp public interest and their support of public interest come 2024, when there is certainly going to be an election, a general election? What do you think about that? And other stories, Nicola Bailey disclosure by police unnecessary. The police are criticized for revealing personal information during their search for the missing mother. They said that, well, you know what, she had a problem of drunkenness and therefore blah blah blah. And but when the autopsy and everything was done, the inquiry says that, well, there was no alcohol found in her system, and it's quite an interesting one. But what do you think about all that? This is Starr Radio UK. This is the Tuesday edition of the morning show, and we are here to bring you everything that you need to know. High Court to hear legal challenge to Troubles Act. The act will end future civil litigation and inquest into deaths that occurred during the Troubles. Which Troubles are they talking about? I'm going to tell you more about that. And UN criticizes severe Just Stop Oil sentences. One activist was jailed for 2 years and another for 3 after scaling Dartford Crossing Bridge. Well, they wanted to serve as a deterrent. So what do you think about all that? So it has to go. All right then. Now let me bring you my first tune here this morning, and it is from Kofi Boham. But you know, my producer has given me a nice tune that I'm going to be bringing you during the course of the program. But it's called Mr. Liar. Don't you worry. But Dr. Liar. I'll be bringing you that during the course of the program. But for now, enjoy this song from Kofi Boham. It says broken pencils. They can still write. So don't give up. I always want to tell you, always want to encourage people for them to understand that there's no need for you to give up or throw in the towel. Even if when you are down, you can rise up and do something. Yeah? So keep on keeping on. Enjoy this music, and I will be with you. And that is from Kofi Boham. Broken pencil still writes.
This is a letter to the broken. things in your life that have wreaked heavy carnage. Don't be dismayed. I know you think that your dreams and everything that you hope for seem to delay. Looks like your problems don't seem to go nowhere. Just take a deep breath. People talk about you, it's got you feeling down and really stressed. Don't tell me you don't know the trouble that I've been going through. You self don't know, see, the same thing they go through, me self I they go through too. Who told you the lie? When you fall, it's the end of your life. I heard a whisper from above. I pray it opens up your eyes. Broken pencils still write, so keep on writing. And fallen soldiers still rise, so keep on fighting. One day you'll lift up your eyes to the skies and your light will be shining. One day you will win. One day you will win. Broken pencils still write, so keep on writing.
In your car, at work, at home, on your smartphone.
Keep on fighting. One day you'll lift up your eyes to the skies and your light will be shining. One day you will win. Yeah. One day you will win. Now snap on it. News around this life is not fair. Greed is all we see. You gave your heart to the wrong folk, they broke it, and now you put it on free. Fake life on Instagram and Snapchat got you feeling ungrateful. My sister, if you could see the real them, you know you are being a great fool. Wrote a paper and failed. Sit down and write it again. One day you will kill him. He broke your heart and you cried. Give love another try. True love will heal him.
This is Starr Radio
I'm not trying to look down on your problems. No. I know say you don't know how you sabi solve them. Allow me to introduce you to someone I know. He's a specialist in handling cases and issues we don't blow. If you fell, just rise.
In your car, at work, at home, on your smartphone.
If you fell, just rise. Wipe the tears from your eyes. If you fell, just rise. If you fell, just rise. Wipe the tears from your eyes. If you fell, just rise.
Well, if you fell, just rise and wipe the tears from your eyes. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactly 4 minutes past the top of the hour. And you have to understand that I've got with me the one and only, my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, this morning here.
One day you lift up your eyes to the skies and your light will be shining. One day.
And therefore we'll cross over straight to our North London studios where he is so that we can have a chat with him. But don't you worry, as I said earlier on, I'm going to bring you some more tunes during the course of the program. But it is now coming your way, all from Starr Radio UK. Let me see whether Yomi can hear me. Yomi, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Good. Listeners, thank you very much for joining in this morning. It's one of we found out this morning, myself and Mr. Francis Guy, we were working. He was trying to do his stuff on the system, so we were watching it closely. He said, have you checked whether Yomi comes on? You can hear him. And I said, don't worry, when he comes on, we'll hear him. And we can hear him now. So I hope that wherever you are listening to us from, to all of you who are on the various platforms, the sister platform, we want to salute each and every one of you. And once again, say thank you very much for joining in. Yomi, how are you and how is the family?
Well, it's another beautiful Tuesday morning. And as usual, the family is doing very well. And I hope yours are doing great as well.
Oh, yeah. They are all doing very, very well. Thank you very much. There. Okay. Now, let's move on straight to some of the issues that is going on in Nigeria. Now, how come that it looks like people are now chastising the president that he has maybe some tendencies of running Nigeria as a one-party state?
Well, the news started filtering out just less than 72 hours. I mean, I picked it up myself, and like as usual, you just have to wait to see if there will be a response from the presidency. And you're quite right, that has actually, come back, that is not something that we should be expecting. I mean, Nigeria is not China and we are not North Korea. I mean, we are a democratic country. That is what we are told. There's democracy. But as we've heard from Atiku, last week, trying to see if they can merge all the three or the other political parties together to make up a one political party, and in that way defeat the APC in 2027. We still have about 3 years before that, but it seems as usual politicians are planning ahead. They plan ahead in time before the next election. But I can confirm that there is now a report coming from the presidency this morning. We're just going to give you that in just about a few minutes. Tinubu is not planning to turn Nigeria into Tinubu not undermining judiciary. That is the first thing. Also, there's a lot of rumor out there that it seems that most of the states might become APC. How true that is, it seems that the presidency, disagree with that. We know that Tinubu is currently in Germany. I will tell you a little bit more about what I've heard from him. But earlier, the PDP Atiku Abubakar questioned the integrity of the judiciary after the court judgment sacking some opposition governors. We've now seen that some governors have lost their seat, and that has come back to the APC. That is the reason why Atiku is believing that the judiciary has now been undermined. There's also a plan to foist a one-party state on Nigeria. The presidency yesterday has now responded to the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar questions over the integrity of the judiciary following the recent court judgment that sacked some of the governors of opposition parties in some of the states. We know some of them are still going to the Supreme Court, but in a statement that was put out by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, insisted that Tinubu remain committed to upholding judicial independence and the Nigerian democratic values. Ononuga added that the allegation arose in the context of the PDP poor performance in the recent appeal court rulings regarding the election of some of his governors.
Well, it's quite interesting because whilst you were speaking, I was just trying to note things down, and I can tell you assuredly that there are few stories or events that have shown that the APC candidates seem to be, elections that maybe have been, pronounced in favor of other parties. The APC seem somehow to be, winning the cases in the courts, and that is why people are of the view that Tinubu and his headmen are on the part of maybe just turning all states into APC where they have their own people there. So do you think that the judiciary are being fair there, or is government having a hand in there trying to manipulate things? What do you think?
Let's take you back to Osun State. There was a court ruling and PDP won against the APC. So that is what Ononuga is saying, that if you cite back to some of the states that have also lost out, there's no way you can now come out and put these narratives in the minds of Nigerians. He also went on that Atiku and the PDP are only crying wolf just because of the loss of the appeal court rulings on the governorship polls in Plateau, Zamfara, Nasarawa State. He also asked him to ask the former vice president where he was in 2019 when the court ruled against all the Progressive Congress in Zamfara State. The court then awarded all the positions won by the APC to the PDP. He's now implore Atiku and PDP to stop this campaign of calumny, blackmail against the judicial and most of the honorable judges. I'm not sure Nigerians, would accept, regardless of what Ononuga is saying. Ononuga is also, working because, that's, Tinubu is now his paycheck. He get paid by Tinubu. That is the job, he's meant to do. And like we always say, Tinubu understand the game of the media, especially for someone that is coming from the Southwest. The Southwest owns the media, and as long as you can continue to change the narrative is that Tinubu wants to tell Nigerians and international community that his government has integrity and judiciary has not been tampered with. But we know, for some of us that have seen things from behind the curtains, that judiciary has actually been tampered with. And when you talk about integrity of Tinubu, for me, I don't think he's got any integrity at all.
Interesting. Listen to Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the south, the main studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria. But Yomi, has the faking of the certificate allegation, has it died down now? Has it died down? How is the waters down there?
Well, it seems that Nigerians have probably moved on and accepted that since Buhari could not even provide us his own school cert, at least Tinubu told us he went to a university, but the only difference is whether it was a male or female. I think the saga of that has actually wind down. The question now is, many Nigerians are now putting Tinubu on his toe, asking the questions, how he's going to revive the economy, the insecurity. The president was in Germany and he's telling investors to come and invest in Nigeria. I'm not sure whether any investor would love to come into a country that has baggage of insecurity. And what are the insecurity? Again, it's not just about the insecurity. It's all about, again, the judicial system as well. As we speak this morning, terrorists are still holding 6 female students of the Nigerian Federal University in Katsina and Zamfara. The question is, would an investor from Germany invest in Katsina, where the former president hometown? He was also attacked. Remember that the convoy of the former president was attacked. At some point during the Eid festival on his, when they were heading to Katsina State. The question is all about the integrity. Integrity is also going to help, to bring investor into the country. But as we speak right now, many Nigerians are saying at least this president is not saying Nigerians are lazy. So you can see that Nigerians are trying to balance the situation as we speak this morning.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when Buhari said that Nigerians are lazy, that the young guys should all get up and go and find some work to do. But well, he said that is not what seems to be playing up now. But with the Katsina hostages or victims of the kidnapping, what has the former president said about it? Because it's his backyard. That's where he is. That's his state. Has he started to maybe see whether he can use his goodwill measures to maybe negotiate some truce for these individuals?
Well, we haven't seen much of what Buhari really wants to do after coming out of the the presidency. Now that he's just an ordinary citizen, we know that the Jonathan is working, trying to bring peace between African countries. As Buhari says, Nigerians are the most difficult people to govern. He also went on to say, Kaaba have hijacked my government. These are the headlines coming in just less than 2 minutes ago. And I'm looking at Garba Shehu, the former spokesperson for Buhari, says, former President Muhammadu Buhari exclusive interview on the NTA. I'll have to watch that, because I couldn't catch up with it yesterday, but it's about 54 minutes, 17 seconds. I will have to watch that, and then probably we will talk about it. Remember, we did a program about Buhari on his way out. I'll be looking into that. But what I can tell you is that, the presidency hasn't said much about his backyard, where security has become a big issue. Buhari also talked about, while I approve the Naira redesign, whether Nigerians believe it or not, we are underdeveloped country. And I'm picking up from some of the headline, from some of those that have watched the video of Buhari interview yesterday. In the sort of situation, there is materialism, and sometimes ruthlessly, they didn't care how they made the money. He said, I still feel the only way I could deprive these people was just to make sure that my integrity, gain integrity, Buhari talking about, even though the new president and the national security advisor is telling us that this government of Buhari bankrupted Nigeria. So I'm not sure where Buhari is talking about integrity. Became unquestionable. I think as a developing country, we still have a long way to go. Well, many campaigners for the self-determination are saying, this we are waiting is becoming too much. My grandmom died at the age of 92. She was told that Nigeria will be a great place. I don't know whether I want to wait till 92 before I start telling my children and my great-grandchildren that Nigeria will be great. So for some of us, it is much better that we dismantle or we dissolve, we come on the round table and we discuss. When you looked at Norway, Scotland is less than 12 million citizens. They are doing very well. Both countries played over the weekend. It was 3-3-0. And I can tell you, as much as the Scottish people are enjoying, they are still asking for one thing, and one thing is the right to self-determination.
Well, listeners, it is true. But what do you think about all that? We want you to tell us more about what you think about what we are discussing this morning. So, Olayomi Koiki for you. Now, the presidential, the former president's interview on the NTA, I know that you've not watched it yet. However, he talks about a few things, the cabal. And I remember back in the day that his wife, Aisha Buhari, did talk about that she thinks that the president, the way he was like coming to crack down on corruption and stuff like that, wasn't going through because there were some cabals. So she also alleged. So could that be true at all, Yomi?
Well, Buhari tried as much as possible, to play it down, but we know that his government was hijacked, at some point, whether true or false. We saw that when the government came in for 6 months, there was no ministers at all. Then, later on, Buhari is now saying that I did my best. Not sure if expected results were achieved. Well, we now know that there wasn't any result that was achieved because the new administration has told us that the country has gone into bankrupt from a president that took the reins of affairs for 8 years. He also said he has given same chance. He wouldn't do anything differently under Nigeria's current system. That shows, and I'm again picking from some of the headline from some of the news paper and the mainstream TV in Nigeria. I did my best. Not sure if expected results were achieved. Well, many Nigerians don't think that you achieved any result because it was just a total failure. It was total chaos because the insecurity he left is still a big problem. The bankruptcy of the country is now having a big toll on the new administration that says, look, we want to help Nigerians, but there's no money in this reserve. The money is completely drained. The question then is, Buhari is saying that under the current system, he doesn't think he would have done anything different.
Well, he said he wouldn't. He's not sure that he will do anything different. But what do you think? Should he have done something different from what he's doing now? And he said, well, he acted, but he doesn't think that he got a requisite result. Maybe people have got it. If you got it, let us know. But listen, Starr Radio UK. But this government doesn't seem to be able to shun away from the past presidents. So we have Obasanjo, who is also now, because of a statement that he has made, now the government or the presidency also saying that they are blaming former President Obasanjo for current state of Nigeria's democracy. What did Obasanjo do wrong there?
Well, Obasanjo is not new to writing letters. He's not new to telling Nigerians about how he feels when it comes to any particular government in place. But he hasn't written any letter yet. But the presidency is now fumes, and tackles, the former president as well, Obasanjo over a democracy comment. Let's go into the presidency yesterday. Blamed former President Olusegun Obasanjo as part of the current state of Nigerian democracy. Again, media, a very powerful tool. These are what Bola Tinubu has put in place and they are doing the job, making sure that they can respond as quickly as possible. The special advisor again to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who spoke to one of the main paper yesterday, noted that democracy the country currently practice date back to direct input by Obasanjo when he led the country's first military head of state from 1976 to 1979. Most of these individuals have destroyed Nigeria when they were running the military era until democracy came back in 1999. Obasanjo was very lucky, and he continued to be a very lucky Nigerian, even though he says his Nigerianness is much better than Yorubaness. Some even say that he's not even Yoruba man anyway. You are from the southeast of Nigeria. During 1976, 1979, as a civilian, and then from 1999 to 2007, Obasanjo ought to know that he brought this thing into Nigeria. He was the one who made us adopt it in 1979. He must have seen it as an expensive, unsuitable, when he governed us for 8 years and wanted to do another extension. Obasanjo wanted to become the president of Nigeria by coming into the third term, but that wasn't accepted. So it seems that, Onanuga says that Obasanjo is just, again, one man that is very bitter, and is bitter because he wanted Peter Obi to become the president, but that failed. The president responded following the comment that Obasanjo made at the high-level consultation on rethinking Western liberal democracy in Africa that was held at the Green Resort Legacy Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library in Abeokuta. Obasanjo had criticized the Western democracy, suggesting that it had not delivered good governance and development in Africa, but it actually delivered for him and probably his cronies while he was the president from 1999 to 2007, and while he was a military dictator. So you can tell that these individuals made use of the same Western democracy, but Obasanjo thinks that maybe it's not the right thing right now. We need to pull it and unplug it.
Well, I've been saying it all the time that, well, the democracy that we are practicing, I think at times doesn't pan out well for us, because the way that even we are able to elect the leaders, we're not doing that because maybe the person has got good policies or good reputation, but we are not doing that because we do it most of the time from coercion. I mean, because the people they are inducing individuals, and that's why people vote for them. But what do you think? Let us know and let us hear from you. Is it Starr Radio UK? It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A civil society organization, the African Network, today for economic and environment and economic justice today lamented the rising debt profile of Nigeria and some West African countries. Now we talk about this on the platform that going for loans is nothing bad, because you can use it so far as you are investing in infrastructure or some lucrative stuff that will benefit the citizens. Why not? But it looks like our people go for all these loans, and at the end of the day you ask them, show what these loans have been used for, and they fall short. Yomi, what are they saying?
Well, when it comes to taking loans, we've taken so much loan in Nigeria that it's going to take, probably the next 7 decades, to pay them back. I mean, there's nothing wrong, in getting loan, but the problem is most of the loans that you get, if they are not put in the right place, if they're not used for the right purposes, then it's of a waste of time. And let me give you a clear example of one right now. Because of the problem between Nigeria and Niger, we've taken out $2 billion to get a rail track to Niger. There's now no good relationship. Even Niger has now removed some of their military, that protects some of the borderlines, and that means that the influx of insecurity is also going to come in. We don't have any relationship with Niger as we speak right now. And the CSO lament the Nigerian rising debt profile. The civil society organization, the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice today, lamented the rising debt profile of Nigeria and some West African country. It says it was disturbing that some of the most resources of the affected countries go into debt servicing. According to the Debt Management Office in Abuja, hosted the publication of the paper Debt Management Restricting Sustainability in ECOWAS. The executive director, David Ugolo, spoke during the 2-day International Hybrid Conference on Special Drawing Right with the team making special drawing right work for the people. Most of the loans have not worked for the people. We've taken loan to get the road fixed. We haven't fixed the road. We've taken loan to support the farmers, but yet farmers have not been supported. Now, I'm going to be getting a video, probably we might play that tomorrow, how milk is being delivered. I mean, it's been taken out from a farm, in Turkey, and that farm then, send the milk out, where it becomes a consumer produce as well. It is not the same thing in Nigeria, but again, we've known that the COVID pandemic has also increased solvent and liquidity issues, which is one of the main reasons, like the Sierra Leone debt is categorized as having a high risk of debt distress. What do we do? When we talk about getting loans from the IMF, the World Bank, the Arab loan, and so many loans as well, the problem is 10 nations that are listed include Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Niger, Senegal, Togo, according to a report that was published by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and the Open Society. We hope that whatever loan that this new administration is taking will be in the interest of the country and not in the interest of just small individuals around the government.
Well, that's what we hope for. But we'll see whether that can be done. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK 1127 and updates from Nigeria with Ms. Olayomi Koiki. Now let's move on and look at some of the other issues here. Now, let me take two stories. Now, Osun State Governor Adeleke has spent 2 billion naira on meals, welfare packages, and 6 billion to run his office in 3 months. Now, Governor Alex Oti spent 223 million on refreshments, 397 million on welfare for entire state. Now, refreshment only 223 million. For the welfare of the entire state, 397. Now, yesterday we did talk about the fact that I think the Lagos State Governor has also spent how many million? Is it 11 million or 7 million to buy perfume? And so you ask
almost 7.5 million.
Yeah. So you're asking yourself the question: are these people there to serve us, or are they serving themselves? Their cronies? Yummy.
Well, this report is really generating a lot of conversation. The Lagos State Deputy Governor have literally come out to debunk some of the the information out there in the public domain. But let me give you some of the background again to other states as well. Let's take you through to a state governor that should be resigning or probably retired. I'm talking about Keredolu. He's not feeling very strong. It's not strong. We pray for him to get better, but he has actually left his office to be operating from Ibadan, your state. Keredolu aid defense 7.3 billion spent without Ondo Assembly approved, says it will be normalized during the budget variant. That is on that. Now let's take it through to another one as well. These are some of the headline that is coming out in the last 48 hours. I got 2 trillion just for rechargeable fans and fridge, not 2 billion naira. Lagos State Deputy Governor Hamza writes the state procurement agency that has now brought out this information that has now been looked and verified back to back by so many Nigerians in a very difficult time that Nigerians are going through hardship. Nigerians are struggling to have 3 square meal. Many rely on the diaspora to support them so that they can be able to sustain in the next couple of days and weeks. But it seems, let's see if we can adjust that. That is the Deputy Governor of Lagos State there, Hamza, that have actually come out to say, look, I never got 2 million. All I got was I never got 2 billion. What I got was 2 million. And it was just for rechargeable fans and fridge. Again, you wonder why Lagos State are still also using rechargeable fans. You will expect that Lagos to be able to have their own electricity. We hope that will change now that there's a new government in place. But this information has literally exposed the politicians, those that are meant to be, in care of the state, and how they've decided to use the state as what we call their own cash out.
Well. We'll see. One day. We say there's a saying that every day for thief man, one day for the master.
Says it will not be televised when that revolution is going to happen.
And let me take the opportunity to say good morning to wherever you are this morning. Yes, it's been a good friend.
I was watching his timeline on the X Space yesterday, and it's quite interesting how the daughter of Showore is also fighting hard, to get freedom for the father in the US. Let's see what I picked up from his X Space yesterday. Showore posted 20 hours ago. These are let's first see if we can get that image up quickly. Once again, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As the father continued to fight, the injustice taking place on many Nigerians, regardless of your background, Showore is there, fighting it. We love him. As long as he's doing the right thing to make sure that Nigerians continue to talk, which is something that we haven't done. So right there at the background, some of the students. I believe Showore's daughter is the one to the from your left hand side, the second to the left hand side, the tall, beautiful girl there. And Showore posted yesterday, says, "These great kids of mine and of others stood up for me during my detention by the lawless DSS in 2019. Even now, I am still in detention within the wider Nigeria. The struggle continues until revolution that birth a total liberation is achieved. Hashtag revolution now. Hashtag revolution Nigeria now."
I hope that they are not going to go there to go arrest him, because the moment he says revolution now, they think, this man is causing trouble. But listen, listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South Studios, 11:32, and I'll hand over to Yomi for him to bring you all the other stories making the rounds and what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, sir.
Well, politics. Politics is year round. Whether in UK, in America, anywhere around the world. But it seems that no section can produce governor alone, says Yaya Bello. Yaya Bello was the former governor of Kogi State. He has actually bowed out and the new governor has taken place. The Kogi State governor, Alhaji Yaya Bello, has said that the outcome of the just concluded governorship election has confirmed that only one section of the state cannot produce the governor. Rather, the three tribes must unite to produce the governor. The governor, which actually spoke at a stakeholders meeting at the All Progressive Congress that was held at the government house in Lokoja. My wife is still waiting for Dino new music since he did not win that election in Kogi State. But it seems that Dino is still probably in the studio. So we're waiting for the new release from Dino Malaye. Well, let's go straight to business. Many Nigerians are struggling, like we say. Business is very, very important. But as we continue to say that we should save money, it seems that the federal government is also losing money. Federal government actually lost $16 trillion to gas flare in 10 years. I mean, if that kind of money is injected back into the economy throughout the period of the 10 years, we're not blaming this particular government alone. We're talking about the previous government that have taken the reins of affairs of Nigeria. Let's look into that report, because whatever should have helped Nigeria and has failed continue to be questioned. The federal government has lost an estimated $16 trillion to natural gas flaring in 10 years, according to the report yesterday. The Energy Institute's 72nd edition of the Statistic Review of the World Energy 2023 said the amount was lost between 2012 to 2022. The breakdown of the statistics shows that the upstream, the downstream oil and gas firms operating in the country cleared the highest amount of gas in 2019 that was estimated to about 12.9 billion cubic meters of the natural gas at about 9.2 billion cubic meters in 2013 and 8.3 billion in 2014 and 7.5 billion cubic meters in 2015. It seems that we have so much and we don't know what to do with it. Rather, we were just flaring them and we couldn't capture them. That could have been giving us what could have been $16 trillion. According to the Hebrew Energy Value for each 1 billion cubic meters of the natural gas is worth about $183 million. That is now giving an estimated 16 trillion lost to the menace within a period under review. The question is, who do you hold responsible for such a calamity? The government, through the former President Muhammadu Buhari, had in 2020 pledged the support to the United Nations by 2050 zero gas emission agenda. All these agenda, when it comes to Nigeria, I don't believe it. There's still the SDG goal that is meant to be expiring in 2030. We are just less than 7 years before that, and it seems that Nigeria is still backwards when it comes to the SDG goals. Tinubu, whose G20 investors met over multiple taxation, as President Bola Tinubu continued to tell the international community that Nigeria is still the destination for investment, and that investment would help, make money to those countries and their companies and firms. But the question again is, are these firms ready to come down to the most populous black nation in Africa and invest? President Bola Tinubu has assured international investors from the G20 nations that money is safe within the borders of the country. Well, let's talk about those that have actually not been able to extract their money. I'm talking about the foreign airlines that the money are trapped in Nigeria as we speak right now. It seems that Bola Tinubu, the president, will have to sort that out, as much as there's so many other investment that might want to come in. The president also has disclosed this during a panel discussion titled Fostering Local Value Chains and Investment in Africa, the role of the German private sector at the G20 Compact with Africa Economic Conference hosted by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Berlin on Monday. He highlighted to the investor that Nigeria has a large market and is ready to leverage all its advantage to become successful. While the president is trying to hold investors in Germany, the Federation Account Allocation Committee is mulling plans to take decisive actions against multiple taxation in the country. This is coming from the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, stated this at the opening of the FEC retreat on Monday in Delta. He announced that the government is not set to overburden taxpayer with many taxes, but would rather broaden its tax base while simplifying the streamlined tax administration in the country. 1138 will take one more from the health-wise. Many Nigerians are not doing very well when it comes to health. Health is one of the biggest problems around the world, and if you're not investing in the cleanliness, you will then have a lot of problems. How open defecation, poor waste management have triggered Ogun cholera outbreak in Africa, mostly not just in Nigeria. People still do open, defecation. You can just open it up there, which is not allowed even in UK. That's why you have the restaurant that are there. You can walk in there and do what you have to do and come out. Also, Ogun State to probe Bureau wastewater disposal after the Punch Healthwise report. I was looking at the report coming from Shell this morning, where the Ofcom have actually fined them £1.4 million, for not doing what it's meant to do. The Shell Energy has been fined £1.4 million by the Ofcom here in UK for breaching consumer protection rules. The question is, who do we fine? Who do we hold responsible, for some of the problems, like how the Bureau wastewater disposal, let's take a look into that story as we come back to Lagos community also battling with malaria. According to this headline, the Ogun State government says it has now launched an investigation into the allegation that wastewater from the multinational company International Bureaus had contaminated 3 rivers, serving as a source of drinking water to several communities in Orile-Imo in the Obafemi Owode area of the state. This development is coming after a report from one of the paper detailed how the wastewater channel into the water source allegedly led to huge environmental contamination, threatening both humans and acute lives. So we hope that the Ogun State Ministry of Environment, Mr. Rotimi Oduni, yesterday, or rather today, revealed that the state government has now launched an investigation, and we hope that nobody will be bribed and that investigation just died along the line, because we know what happened, in Nigeria, especially when these firms, compared to UK that have just fined Shell £1.4 million for what they called breaching consumer protection. We hope that we can get to that stage. As I take you to Lagos State, and I'll be heading straight to the social media, Lagos community battles malaria, count losses as the seaweed decorate lagoon. Again, resident of Ikorodu community in Lagos State groan as seaweed invasion of the lagoon in the area has become a threat to their lives, cripple the source of livelihood. Residents of that Ikorodu community in Ikorodu local government area of Lagos State have lamented the impact of strange rebounds of seaweed, which has affected their environment, made life difficult for them by crippling business activities. According to the report, the seaweed infested the lagoon. The community members complained bitterly about observed that the environment was in a deplorable condition. And if you don't have the environment that is clean, be rest assured you would have citizens, community that will end up filling up your hospital, and those hospitals itself are not up to the standard. The reason why, while I was out this morning, out on my journey out, I saw at the bus garage how it was being cleaned continuously. Because why? We want to have a safe community. So fishermen say whenever the seaweed, also known as water urchin, takes over the lagoon, they are unable to go out to fish for fear of losing their net to the plant. So we hope Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu will be doing something quickly to resolve this situation happening in Ikorodu area of the state. And people say Ikorodu is one place that is very, very important. As the scammers continue to scam the Yoruba, talking about, the Mrs. Dupe Onitiri that told us that 1 year was last year they declared Yoruba nation. They've actually come out with another, scam that says that they now have, Ambassador Stephen Faletile as the first Yoruba nation diplomat. Well, we're not too sure which of the diplomat, because we know that Nigeria is still operating as a country as we speak right now. She told some of the gullible Yorubas that they've declared a country last year, November 20. She spoke attentively again in a hidden cocoon, because remember that when we did an interview with her, we brought her on Skype, but in the last 6 months, she has not shown her face. She continued to speak just through the WhatsApp audio call. But it seems that the new scam is that Ambassador Stephen Faletile is the first Yoruba nation diplomat. This man that we're talking about actually told the Yorubas that he attended the United Nations 78th General Assembly section. But when review went back to find out which of the section, because all we saw was the Nigerian representative, there was nothing called Yoruba representative at the United Nations, we realized that it was just an NGO that is actually represented. So again, we've got to be very careful, as there's not just one scam that happens, there are multiple scams, and sometimes you could be scammed that you have a nation, and then, you might not even know that you are being scammed. So that is just an advice for those that believe that, Dupe Onitiri, that has now said that she declared a country, and that country is exactly 1 year, even though the Nigerian police is still operating, the Nigerian currency is still operating, the government is still running as we speak right now. So let us be very careful, because scam happens not just for people that are buying things. You could also be scammed by saying that they have a nation. So for the benefit of those. So would I underscore Yoruba name say scam alert? Be careful with this man called Ambassador Stephen Faletile, as they've called him. Again, what is trending in the social media at 11:44? Sanwo-Olu is trending, and I'm sure Sanwo-Olu will be trending because we know that perfumes was something that many people talked about. So why is Sanwo-Olu trending this morning? Let's see the reaction of Nigerians. This one says, Falana insisted that the mandate of Abakabi must be restored, the choice of the people of Kano. Again, that will have to be something that will have to be decided. Oluwashola said, this is why we won't catch me criticizing Sanwo-Olu or Tinubu, mostly when the criticism is being pushed by the Igbos. Again, you can tell that there's a lot of hatred between the Yorubas and the Igbos, and that is why some that are Biafra says, well, since we don't want to have this good unity, maybe it's time to discuss the roundtable discussion and decide whether we still want to be together. I can only criticize Yoruba leaders when I am convinced to do so, and I do it constructively. Igbos are known to shield their own and crucify others. So you can tell that the kind of bitterness and hatred that goes on the egg space between these two indigenous people has been going on for a very long time. So not much coming from Sanwo-Olu, but again, 2 hours ago, I visited Lagos State Governor, His Excellency at the Lagos State House Assembly in Marina. This is coming from someone that paid a visit to Sanwo-Olu in the office. Well, let's see what more is trending, and I'll return back again to you in the studio. Once again, Ibuka Obi is trending, Chief of Staff is trending. There's another story about a woman that died, may her soul rest in peace, known as Posh Mama. Posh Mama criticized Dr. Chinelo, after she posted that she has been attacked, on a train. This was a train attack that led to her death, but it seems that the young woman herself have now passed on. May her soul rest in peace. So that is how far I can see. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you this morning, bringing you everything that you need to know when it comes to Nigeria. And what has the presidency responded to anything from the southeast that is pertaining to Nnamdi Kanu? Have there been any statement from that place? Because there were lots of things, and had there been any reaction?
Maybe there are probably work going on underneath that we are not aware of, but there hasn't been much between, Tinubu has been so busy traveling, from Saudi Arabia to Guinea, from Guinea back to Germany. Yes, there hasn't been any kind of a response between, the Igbos and the Onaise that are asking Tinubu now to look into, the case of Nnamdi Kanu. Not much is coming again from the information minister that would have also given us a hint, but we hope that Nnamdi Kanu, as he returns to the court next month, maybe he might get his freedom next month.
Okay, let's see. Will he get his freedom or not? And has Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho's mom, has she been buried? Because it looks like it's been a bit quiet. So someone was asking me about it. I'm not sure, but once I have Yomi, he'll be able to tell me.
Well, she hasn't been buried. She's still being kept in the, where she is at the moment. But there's an ongoing, work to decide when it will be very, very convenient to get her buried. But for now, Chief Sunday Igboho hasn't said anything, and there's not much we can say on that at the moment.
Okay. Yomi, let me say thank you very much for this wonderful update. Before you go, sir.
Well, it's still the Tuesday edition. It is a very beautiful 11:48 as I leave you with Archie. Archie takes you to the rest of the program. I'll be back again tomorrow, and tomorrow will be a very fantastic day. But for now, enjoy the rest of the day with Archie. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, sir. Have a lovely day. We'll catch up later.
Bye for now.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK. It's your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it is now gone exactement what 11:49 from the hearts of London. So wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial, because I'm going to bring you some lovely tune during the course of the program. But for now, let's just stay tuned and continue to listen to me whilst we bring you some of the other stories making the rounds on the African continent before we take that musical break. Okay, so let's crack on. Moving on straight to other stories. But to every one of you who joined us on this updates on the various platforms, I salute each and every one of you. As Yomi said, God willing, tomorrow we will be back to bring you that once again. And tomorrow, God willing, there should be Niger Voices as well. So what more are you looking for? We got it all. Name it. Now, in Madagascar, elections is going to be taking place, and we know Rogelina, the incumbent president, is virtually leading the polls now. Counting has been going on, and he is leading by 62.4%. And the issue was that the various opposition parties decided to back out of it. So, what exactly is going on there? It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Just bear with me trying to fine-tune something there. Okay. So moving on straight to the details of that story here. The story says that, Madagascar's incumbent president, Andre Rogelina, is leading last Thursday's election with currently 62.4% of the votes. Now, he's trailed by Sistani Randrenasolonial just bear with me, at 12.2%, and outside ex-president Mark Ravolamonana at 11.2%. The country's electoral commission said turnout was only 43%, with some opposition candidates attributing the low participation to their calls to boycott the election. 10 of the 12 opposition candidates boycotted over concerns about votes integrity. In June, Madagascar was rocked by the revelation that the president had acquired French citizenship in 2014, which the opposition argues should result in the loss of his Madagascan nationality and disqualify him from running in the race. Rogelina, who is running for a third term, says the accusation is a baseless political tactic. He has urged that the constitution does not require the head of state to exclusively hold Malagasy nationality, and that the government would have to authorize his loss of nationality. Ahead of the vote, opposition protesters held demonstrations and clashed with the police. So he's a French citizen, right? But he says that, in that part of the world, their constitution allows, that you can have dual citizenship and still be able to. But that's not it when it comes to Ghana, and that you have to be a national of that particular country that you are or want to vie for that position. But what do you think about that? It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Well, in Somalia, floods provisional death toll reaches 50. The Horn of Africa region is experiencing torrential rainfall and floods linked to the El Nino weather phenomenon, claiming dozens of lives there as well. I have a picture before me where a man has fallen in water, lost his sandals, was wearing a flip-flop, and obviously that will eventually cause you to fall down in a very slippery, rainy, muddy terrain. Okay, in other stories as well, in Liberia, a car has plowed into a crowd of supporters of politician Joseph Boakai in Monrovia on Monday evening, killing at least 2 people and injuring many more. Hospital police and political sources have said. A police official interviewed said that the cause of the tragedy, a spokesman for Mr. Bokai's party said he had little doubt it was deliberate. The driver of the vehicle is missing, the police official has said. There are 2 dead. 1 person is in a critical condition. Siawata Kamano, an official at John F. Kennedy Hospital, Monrovia Main Hospital, told AFP that 20 people were injured. She said these incidents occurred on the very evening that the National Electoral Commission announced Mr. Bokai's narrow victory over incumbent George Weah in the runoff presidential election on 14th of November. The election was marked by fears of violence after the announcement of the result, but Liberia's foreign partners hailed the peaceful way in which the country emerged from years of civil war in 2003. Supporters of Mr. Bukai were celebrating the victory outside the party's office in the center of the capital when, between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Local time, a vehicle parked nearby flashed its headlights, then switched off its lights and plowed into the crowd, reported Muhammad Ali, spokesman for the Unity Party, citing eyewitnesses' account. Now, videos posted on social networks showed many bloodied people lying on the ground, some receiving assistance and others inert. Now, Muhammad Ali initially mentioned the death toll of 10, but this figure was later not corroborated. We don't know who did it, but we find it hard to believe that the car had a mechanical problem or that its brakes failed, because we were told that it was parked nearby, flashed its headlights and the fans and drove straight into them, the spokesman added. Now, police official Mervyn Sacco said the vehicle rammed into people and burst into flames. That's quite serious there. He did not comment on the exact number of casualties, but said that at least 16 people, 12 men and 4 women, had been hospitalized at one hospital. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, when it comes to South Africa as well, Oscar Pistorius' parole hearing is set for Friday, and we're following very closely to see what is going on. Now, African Union have embraced a diverse partnership at G20 Compact with Africa's conference in Berlin. Now, Compact with Africa is based on an initiative launched by Germany during its chairmanship of the G20 group in 2017. It aims to improve the economic fortunes of the Africans. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Well, in other stories making the rounds this morning on the African front, now Senegal's opposition party has sponsored a new candidate in presidential polls. Now, the party of Senegal's jailed opposition leader Ousmane Sonko said on Sunday it was sponsoring its number 2 politician Bassirou Diomaye Faye, a candidate for the 25th February presidential election. The announcement came just days after the country's Supreme Court effectively blocked Sonko's own bid. The dissolved Patriots of Senegal party said, however, that Sonko's candidacy has been maintained. Election authorities have refused to provide him with the sponsorship papers that need to be submitted by early December. Although the Diomaye Faye does not enjoy the same popularity as the party's leader, his choice has been welcomed by a large number of its supporters. I think it's the ideal choice, the right choice, because whatever people may say, we're in a rather complicated, highly strategic political context, said Dakar resident Amadou Sai. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is the Tuesday edition of the morning show, bringing the time now tilting towards just 12 o'clock. Now, this afternoon, exactly at 1:30, I'll be bringing you the one and only BB Clement on BB Means Business. So wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. Now, one other story, and then we'll move on to Ghana as well before we go to other part of the world. Now, bad weather in Kenya, resumption of rail freight in Mombasa. It's one of the stories. Now, Kenya's National Rail Company announced on Monday the resumption of freight services to and from the port city of Mombasa after they were disrupted by heavy rains and landslides along the coastal region. The Horn of Africa has in recent weeks experienced intense rains and flash floods linked to the El Nino climatic phenomenon, which have left dozens of people dead, including at least 46 in Kenya. Now, Kenya's railways said on Sunday that a landslide on a section of the freight rail line linking Mombasa to Nairobi had led to the closure of the access to all freight trains, specifying that passenger trains were still running but with no delays. All right then, it is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's 12 o'clock. We take a break. We come back and we continue with the other stories making the rounds in Ghana before we come to other parts of the world. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactement. That is what? Tick tock, 3 minutes past the top of the hour. You want to join the conversation? Call us on 02081 332257. Okay, and then you want to text or WhatsApp as 07539661744, 07539661744. Our Twitter handle is Star Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. info@starradiouk.com. Our X space, we are at Star Radio UK. Our X space, Star Radio UK. So join in and let us hear from you. All right then. So now let's move on. As I did say earlier on this afternoon, exactly at 1:30, I'll be having BB Clement on BB Means Business. So we wanted to be part of it. All right? Yes, good. Okay. Now to other stories making around this morning in other parts of Africa, and this time round in Ghana. A report currently under review by the presidency has suggested that 10 metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives are at risk of dismissal due to multiple issues raised against them during their tenure. Radio comment has said. Now, the report indicates that these potential dismissal are part of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's plan to make necessary changes in the last 12 months of his tenure, focusing on a critical area where public confidence has diminished. To the report, the person at the forefront of the potential dismissal of Mr. Edward Owusu, the district chief executive officer of Atebubu Amanting, despite his loyalty to President Akufo-Addo, the DC's alleged anti-people's activities are divisive leadership style that have led to strong opposition within the Atebubu district of the Bono East region, the report added. After investigating their complaints, the president had reportedly ordered the swift dismissal of Edward Owusu, who is said to have been summoned to the Jubilee House. The report also indicates that 9 other MMDCEs are expected to follow suit. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It was alleged that Odro Frimpong has become another one from the one other chief executive mentioned is Samuel Odro Frimpong, the municipal chief executive for the Ejisu municipality. It was alleged that Odro Frimpong has become detached from his constituents and remains passive in addressing the municipality's problems and failing to engage with stakeholders. Michael Donko, the district chief executive of Amansia Central, is accused of not residing in the district and being involved in illegal mining. Okay, the president has some work to do. Let him crack the whip and let's see what goes on there. Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. One other story from Ghana. Okay, two other stories from Ghana. Let's touch on this one first. The Saglemi project. Now, it hasn't read at the Financial and Economic Division of the High Court in Accra that Andrews Klokanas, executive chairman of the Constructora OAS Ghana Limited, who was charged together with Alhaji Collins Dauda and 3 others over the Saglemi affordable housing case, has died. This came up in court as prosecution calls its first witness as the trial commences. Reverend Stephen Yao Osei, the current acting chief director of the Ministry of Works and Housing, is in the witness box giving evidence. Now, lawyers of Collins Dauda, led by Thaddeus Sori, has raised preliminary legal objection to the adoption of the witness statement of the witness in its entirety as one that do not conform to the dictates of practice direction. Mutalai Nusa, who was reporting, also said that the director of public prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakura Abuabisa, is justifying the basis for which the objection should be overruled. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Cocoa Board CEO lied over cocoa forward sales. That is a breaking news that is coming through, but we'll be looking at that, God willing, tomorrow. Police injunction against 3 groups over December demo deferred to November 22. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagman, has declared the affirmative action bill currently before the House shall not be considered under a certificate of urgency. The bill currently before the Committee of Gender, Children and Social Protection was presented under a certificate of urgency, even though the bill, which seeks to empower women, is yet to be considered by the committee. The Speaker has served notice that there is the need for comprehensive stakeholders consultation given the enormity of the legislation. Speaking at the Star Ghana Foundation Speakers Breakfast Forum, Mr. Bagwin revealed that the government is under pressure from the IMF to get the law passed, adding the writings of the Bretton Woods institution are all over the 2024 budget. The former Nadoli Kalio MP, however, insisted that the attempt by the IMF to dictate to Parliament on the affirmative action bill will be resisted, even if such move results in a removal his removal as Speaker. Well, it's quite an interesting one. He's got balls, hasn't it? Yeah, he's a man. All right then, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I said, one other story. The minority in Parliament has stated that the Chief Executive Officer for Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, has lied over Ghana's 2023-24 cocoa forward sales. The former president, Mahama, criticized government for short-changing cocoa farmers by pegging the farm gate price at a paltry 1,308 despite a 46-year record high surge in the world market price. In a so-called open letter to former President Mahama dated the 12th of September 2023, the Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, took issues with President Mahama. He questioned President Mahama's understanding of how the producer price of the cocoa is determined and claimed that the former president erroneously used 3,600 as the world market price to calculate the producer price. In a statement signed by the ranking member Committee on Food and Agriculture in Parliament, Eric Opoku, stated that the Cocoa Board CEO peddled falsehood in his response to the former President John Mahama on forward sales. As a matter of fact, the further information submitted to Parliament indicates that Cocoa Board has already sold part of the remaining 63.8% of our cocoa output for 2023-2024 season at spot prices ranging between 3,500 and 3,770 per ton from October to mid-November 2023. Clearly, former President Mahama was on when he said that the insensitive Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is shortchanging cocoa farmers whose toil and sacrifices continue to sustain the country's economy, Mr. Opoku stated. Well, listeners, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So now let's enjoy that music that I was talking about. One cover is selected this morning by my able producer, and it is Adangba, and he says what? Dr. Lice. Well, let's enjoy it, and I'll be with you, Dr. Adangba and Adangba and Dr. Lice.
God have mercy upon us.
If you give me thousands of Ghana cards and $1 US, I will choose the dollar. Oh, Miami. Oni kwa kutia mu Miami. Odoe mu Miami. Oni kwa kutia mu Miami. Odo wedding dear Miami.
Starr Radio, radio for the people, by the people.
Kano cry, Otrofo, you want me to do more? Okraman Ferso Besuvini, yes, we are dear bro, better so. Shame on you. Abaya the board touchy, yeah, the baby board band baby. Sana will be Miami. You can lie your way to power. You can do all propaganda. Dollar rate will expose you. The dollar has broken jail. You are pathological liar. You lie for living. Lies are your hobby. Google and Wikipedia recognize you as a liar. Your talent is to lie. You promised me heaven and earth. You promised me the whole universe. None of them has been fulfilled. You said if I give you power, I will live like in heaven. Look at the way I'm suffering. Walk on him. What do you trouble on mine? What trouble my own? Oh, mambo 47. Oda, wedding track, dear. Who be me and me? Oda, what can track? Who be me and me? Cano cry. Who be me and me? Otrofo. Oda, who be me and me? Oda, you want me to say more? I have something to tell you. Sit down and cast your mind back. You see how you destroyed yourself. People see you as a joker. They see you as comedian. People see you like Mr. Ibu. They see you like Louis. So Dr. Lice, change your ways. As someone me can watch you now. Dr. Lice, change your ways. So your judgment day is coming. What ya na? What ya futu amede mauno? What ya na? Sisa wakwa nebe bwa. What ya na?
Okay, that is a lovely tune there, right? Okay, I'll bring you at the tail end of the program once again. Now we say, well, Dr. Lice. Now you got everything telling about or talking about you and what you do, and yeah. That is quite should I call it the heart-wrenching one or one beneath the belt? Who is he hitting at? Wow. Now you want to know more? You got to stay on, and I'll be telling you more about all that. But it is Starr Radio UK. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. You don't see me, don't you worry. You're going to be seeing me in a moment. But this afternoon exactly at 1:30, we'll be having BB Clement coming your way with BB Means Business, and I want to be part of it, and that you will enjoy it really, really, really good. All right then. The mindset of an entrepreneur. That is what she's looking at this afternoon. The mindset of an entrepreneur. All right, so make sure you make a date once she comes on exactly more at 1:30. Okay, we've got about another 12 minutes to bring the program to a close, so let's crack on. Let's move on straight to some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. Information coming through says that Microsoft wants OpenAI change after Altman the debacle. Microsoft CEO responded to the chaos at OpenAI, where the boss sacking has caused a staff revolt. Sorry, it's making the rounds there as well. And when it comes to the weather, what the weather is meting out to people. Oh boy, you don't want to know. But well, let me bring you the one. In Somalia, we have the number of people displaced by the rain in Somalia has gone up by 100,000 in just 1 week, bringing the number to close to 650,000 people. The heavy rains that started in October have killed over 100 people in the Horn of Africa. Entire towns have also been cut off in part of Kenya and Ethiopia, as I did bring you earlier on. But still, when it comes to the weather and its cause, whatever it's causing, Brazil has recorded its hottest ever temperature, that is 44.8 degrees, as part of the country's as part of the country endure a stifling heat wave. The record was hit on Sunday in the town of Archie in Brazil, southeastern state of Minas Gerais. The unprecedented weather has been attributed to the El Nino phenomenon and climate change. Now, forecasters say some of the heat is likely to ease this week. According to the National Institute of Meteorology, in Met, only 3 states capitals will see temperatures approaching 40 degrees in Brazil. The government agency said a high of 44.8 degrees Celsius had beaten the country's previous record of 44.7 measured in 2005. The heat has seen red alerts issued across the country a month before the beginning of summer in southern hemisphere. Brazil's energy consumption has soared to record levels as people try to keep themselves cool. The high temperatures led to even Taylor Swift cancelling one of her concerts in Rio de Janeiro after a fan fell ill and died before a show on Friday. According to the organizers, 23-year-old Ana Clara Benavides Machado had sought help at the stadium after feeling unwell. She was transferred to hospital but died 1 hour later. Well, this is all coming your way, and we say they are all weather phenomenon. Now, Uttarakhand tunnel collapse. Now, first video has emerged of trapped Indian workers. Now, a camera has captured footage of the 41 workers trapped in a tunnel in India, Uttarakhand state, for the first time in 9 days. The video was filmed using an endoscopic camera that was slipped inside a new pipe drill into the tunnel on Monday. Rescuers also used the pipe to give the workers their first hot meal in days. So far, they had been subsisting on snacks sent through a narrower pipe inserted earlier. The under construction tunnel caved in after a landslide. The incident took place in the morning of the 12th of on the morning of the 12th of November in the northern states of Uttarakhand district. Contact with the trapped men was established soon after that, and they were being provided oxygen, food, and water since then. Well. We wish them all well, and that we wish the experts are able to rescue them ASAP as they are embarking on that journey. Now, this morning, information came through that, Microsoft, the OpenAI workers are demonstrating against the dismissal of the AI boss, who is now with Microsoft. But Microsoft boss Satya Nadella has called for changes to OpenAI's board after its shocking firing of Sam Altman. He said something has to change at the firm, but did not specify what that was or rule out the tech giant getting a seat on the board. Now, Microsoft is OpenAI's biggest investor by far and has now also recruited Mr. Altman to lead a new artificial intelligence team. But its strong links to OpenAI do not currently extend to its boardroom. At this point, I think it is very, very clear that something has to change around the governance, said Mr. Nadella. We'll have a good dialogue with your board on that. The Microsoft chief executive claimed calm demeanor in a round media interview is in contrast to the tumult at OpenAI itself, where staff are in open revolt at Mr. Altman's departure. They have demanded he returns and the board is fired. But exactly what is happening with the company's former chief executive is still unclear. In a dizzying series of events over the weekend, Mr. Altman seemed to be about to return to OpenAI before Microsoft swooped to hire him. Listeners, it is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, one other story from from the UK front, or a couple of them, and we'll bring the program to a close. Now, when it comes to the COVID inquiry that is going in place, Professor Sir Chris Whitty, Chief Medical Officer for England, is giving evidence at the UK COVID inquiry. Sir Chris became a household name during the pandemic, giving regular televised news conference. He says that with the benefits of hindsight, we went a bit too late during the first COVID wave in 2020. He rejects that he warned against lockdown, saying he only made sure the downsides of such actions were clear. And he says it caused quite a row when Dominic Cummings began coming to SAGE meetings, but Whitty says he thought it was a sensible idea. The inquiry is currently looking at pandemic decisions, making no one will be found guilty. Decision making. No one will be found guilty or innocent. Their purpose is to learn lessons. You can also tomorrow join us when I bring you all that. But Professor Chris Whitty evidence has given us a peek under the bonnet of how scientific advice actually got ministers. Firstly, pretty quickly, he said there were usually just a couple of hours between meetings of scientists and the Cobra meeting which would receive the advice. Secondly, pretty informally, it was often up to him, Sir Patrick Vallance, to verbally relay the scientific deliberations to ministers because of the fast-moving nature of the pandemic. He also gave his view on something which caused a bit of furor at the time, having the former number 10A Dominic Cummings at SAGE meetings. He said he thought it was perfectly reasonable for him and others to attend, and said he didn't see number 10 representatives attempting to bias the outcomes, which is good, which is a good one there. But the scathing, that has been taken, or a swipe that has been taken against the past and current prime ministers, how do you think that will pan out? Okay, one final story from here as well. At 10 Downing Street yesterday, we celebrated the culture of Northern Ireland with a reception in Downing Street. That's a story making a social media post about Northern Ireland, which use an Irish tricolour, has been removed from by number 10 Downing Street. An edited version of the Instagram post has now been uploaded without the flag. The post was about an event in Downing Street on Monday featuring Northern Ireland businesses. The Irish tricolour is the national flag of the Republic of Ireland and has no official status in Northern Ireland, although it is used by many Irish nationalists. The Ulster Unionist Party leader Doe Beatty said the post showed Westminster did not understand us or know us, and used the incident to reiterate his support for a return to power sharing in Northern Ireland. We are better served with developed government. We are better served with devolved government, he said. There are people out there who want to hand all the devolved power we have back to Westminster, and here is what Westminster is doing, he told the Norland show. They don't understand Northern Ireland. Well. Do you understand Northern Ireland? Okay, if you don't, I do. And I end the program with a song. I bet you the Northern Islanders will be saying, you don't know what we're going through. But this is why I bring the program to a close for today. And let me say once again, thank you very much for joining us on this live show. And thank you for waiting on us. Thank you for everything that you did. But this afternoon, as I've been announcing, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business. And she's going to be looking at the mindset of an entrepreneur. So, on that note, have a lovely afternoon. Enjoy your day. I'll see you all tomorrow. I sign out with a song by Wuta Freya, and it says Country Hot. Bye-bye. It's been me, Archie, saying to have a top of the day. Bye.
Hungry man say fix the country. Belle fool say fix yourself.
So we all they pray for change.
Thanks for listening.
Country hot, hot. Everybody feel the heat. Even begin they feel the heat. So we all they pray for change. We say fix the country.
They say fix yourself.
Fix the country.
Say fix yourself.
Hey,
tell me who be the country? Who be the country? Fix yourself.